Hey, this is Georgie.
And Pete.
And welcome to Studio Jargon Busters, where we take studio terminology and try to put it into plain English.
That's right. In every episode, we take a commonly used and sometimes misunderstood audio or studio term and we try to put it into some explainable, understandable English. And what are we talking about today?
Today we're talking about panning.
What the heckaroonie is panning? Let's find out.
I have no idea. Let's go. So, what is panning?
Well, I would like to ask you, what do you think panning is all about in the audio world?
See, I have no idea in the audio world. In the digital world, it's just kind of moving across the land/seascape.
The land or seascape? Well, it's kind of the same thing, except you're going across the audio scape. Is that a word?
I don't know.
It is now.
It is now, that's right.
It is now. So panning is just your left and your right. So when you pan, your center is in the middle, funnily enough. And then your left is panned to the left and your right is panned to the right.
So if you're listening in the headphones,
yes,
you hear them say, yes, got it.
So it's your separation between your stereo, your left and your right stereo. So most of the time you want to make sure that you have a balance between the left and the right, because if people are listening to music in stereo headphones or even on stereo speakers, then they're going to hear it balanced to the left and the right. Now, right now we're on one microphone, so there will be no left and right. But if we had an individual microphone and I was talking here and you were talking there, we could pan me to the left or the right, depending which way that is. I always get confused. That's right, yeah? Because it's left for me.
Sure.
And that's left because it's right for me. So the way
Your thumb in my face.
so the way that you're looking at the screen, it will be panned that way. But because we don't have these pretend microphones,
We're going to do the rest of it like this.
We just have one microphone. Then we don't have to worry about panning. But why is this relevant in music? So think about...
like I'm interviewing you now.
Yeah. So think about your musical spectrum, right? So you've got right down the middle, you've got your mono. So we'll go back and we'll give a bit of a history lesson. So the very first sort of phonograph recording, when you recorded sound, it was out of like a big bell. Was that called like an Edison? No, it wasn't. It was a gramophone. Who did that? Not Thomas Edison. The other guy. Anyway, I should know more about my musical history.
Is that where they like recorded it on like big clay...
Yeah, like big cylinders. They had discs and cylinders things, and then they did the thing. Anyway,
I know stuff.
Originally we only had mono recordings, right? Because it only came out of one. And then they realised that, hey, wouldn't it be cool if you could have a stereo effect? Like when you were watching an orchestra play, right? You'd have your, and this is where I'm going to show an absolute ignorance for orchestras, because you'd have your violins and violas and strings on one side, and then your woodwinds and other things on the other side. Well, then you go, wow, I really like this effect that we get here, because you have one on one side, one on the other. And then when you reproduce that on audio, you could only have mono. But as soon as they worked out that, oh, wait, we could put two speakers and you could have a stereo sound, then you could put the exact same thing that you have in your orchestra pit, you could actually have on your record. And then you could have stereo sound. So why is that important for us today in recording?
No idea.
Well, we need to make sure that because people are listening on earbuds and people are listening on stereo speakers, you need to manage your stereo spectrum. So you'll have some of your sounds right up the middle. Can you give me an idea of what sounds you think would be important to be up the middle of your mix? If you're mixing a song, what would you expect to find right up the middle, right in the middle of your brain? You've got your earbuds in. What's going to be right in the middle of your head?
The melody.
Yeah. So what usually carries the melody?
A person singing.
Yeah, your vocals. So your vocals are going to be right up the middle. Your main lead vocals will be in the middle, because it will be very weird, right? If you're listening to a song and the singer is right over here, you've got all of this music going on and the singer's over here in the back of your left ear, and you're like, that's very weird. Why are they there?
But back in the heyday of music, when I used to listen to this amazing band called the Beach Boys.
I wish they all could be California girls.
They would do this weird thing where they would put the melody in one channel, for want of a better word.
Channel's good.
And
left channel, right channel.
The harmony in the other. And so I would listen to them on my earbuds, and then one of the earbuds would fail. So I would literally not be able to hear the melody. All I would hear, and I'd be like going for a walk, just listening to the harmony.
Yes.
And it freaked me
Yeah. Exactly. So it'd be like, and we could be wives, and we could be wives when I grew up to be a man. You've already got that bit of that side. Yeah. So there is a little bit that you can do with that. So the Beach Boys, Queen, there's the rules are there to be broken. So the main rule is that you put your vocals up the middle, and then you kind of pan everything out from there. So your vocals, your kick drum or your bass drum, your snare, anything that is a central kind of instrument. So you've got your bass and your snare, right? And you're like la 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 la, all going right down the middle, and then
writing a song right while we're here.
Yeah. La 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 la. Number one, straight to the top of the charts. But then everything else pans out from there, right? See what I did there? So your drum kit, and this is going to be controversial because all the drummers out there are going to be like, oh, this is controversial right now, because your drum kit, picture a drum kit in front of you, and think of where your cymbals are, where your snare is, where your hi-hat is, where all your tom drums are.
Yep.
So if you are the drummer, you're thinking, okay, so my hi-hat's over on here on the left, and then my ride cymbal's over here on the right. But when you're an audience, it's the other way around.
Yes. Right. Yes. I
see. Okay. Yes. Get it? So there's a bit of a discussion there about which way should it be. Should it be as if you are the drummer, or should it be as if you are watching the drummer? So it's kind of that...
Watching.
Yeah, exactly. So I agree. I like the watching side, because you are watching. Like if you're watching a live gig, they're going to do that. They're going to pan the drums and the cymbals to be on the side that you would expect them to be at. So you do that sort of thing.
We've just solved that problem then.
Solved. Yeah, there you go. That age-old argument has been solved by us right here, right now. But everything else, you want to sort of pan around that. So your drum kit, you're going to pan across the spectrum like that. You're going to have your drums. Your bass is usually right up the middle too, so your bass guitar, because you want that to be right in the middle. But then it's all the other instruments that you record that you will pan out. So backing vocals will usually be panned kind of like that at about, 2 o'clock and 10 o'clock? When we're talking about this, right?
10 and 2, yeah, when you're like driving.
Yeah, 10 and 2. So your left and your right? 3 and 9. It took us far too long to work out 3 and 9. So they're your left and your right, and then everything that comes up between them, because they're your full panned left and full panned right, and then everything else comes out here. So we've already talked about what you have in the middle. You put your backing vocals sort of to here. What you have out to the sides are any sort of additional instruments. So your guitars are usually right out there. So if you've got like a rock track that has...
oboe, where does that go?
Your oboe is usually at about 243 on the left. No, wait, that'll be the right. But your oboe, yeah, that's it. Your woodwinds and your clarinet. And again, it depends on the type of music, and it depends what you do. And the rules of music are there to be broken. So if you're like, hey, this is how we should pan, and this is exactly how it should be, then you can work all that out, and then you can break it all. But as a general rule, panning is there to create that musical depth and difference, so that you can go, okay, so you've got your left guitar here, your right guitar here, all of your other instruments sort of come together, and then you've got your middle section there, and you have that variety going across your stereo spectrum.
Good word.
Stereo spectrum. Do you have any questions?
Speculum.
Not
spectrum.
Do you have any questions about panning before anyone asks what a speculum is?
No, I don't, unless you're talking about frying panning, in which case I'm all over those eggs.
What about panning for gold in the gold rush era? We had panning. We had Bendigo, Ballarat. Where was it in Australia? I don't know. California, they had gold panning, and no, it's not that sort of panning.
Different sort of panning.
Different sort of panning. Your left, your centre, right. The last thing that I do want to talk about is that there is a different school of thought around panning, which is called LCR panning. And before we finish up here, I just want to talk briefly about LCR panning. What do you think LCR panning means?
Left, centre, right.
Correct. So there are some people that think, forget all this BS of like your 3 o'clocks and your 9 o'clocks and the wrong way around that we go. Just go centre, left, right, and be done with it. So just decide, is this going to be on the left? Is this going to be on the right? Is it going to be centre? So there's a simplified way of panning where you go, there's only 3 positions. Just put it wherever you want to put it.
The hand doesn't get...
Right, yeah. So, I don't know. I come and go with that. I tend to like to have things sort of at various different points. And there's people that say, actually, just mix it all in mono anyway, which mono, by the way, means just monaural, which means that everything...
Singular.
Yes, mono, singular, everything up the middle, which is mono sound.
But
so
if you catch mono, that's bad.
that's very bad, isn't that?
We call that glandular fever.
I was going to say,
in
isn't
Australia.
that glandular fever? It's
In
not
America,
good.
mono.
Mono, which is monosodium chloride, which is salt.
Mononucleosis or something terrible. I have no idea what it stands for.
On that note, I think it's probably time to finish up here because we're not really talking about padding anymore. Thanks for watching. If you've got comments, questions, or suggestions, you can leave those down below. And until next time,
We'll see you next time.
bye.
Hey Siri, recommend
Here are some selections, sorted by recommendation. Avengers, Infinity War,
What the
Beirut.